Hello there again, everybody. So I've been on a magnificent adventure of magnificent proportions. In my quest to earn bonds before leagues as a newbie, I've dived headfirst into the challenging content. The content to earn millions, if I'm lucky, and millions is what I have actually earned. I wrote this script before we got those Blood Moon tacits, you know, the big 13 mil, so that in my quest to earn bonds before leagues, I've dived headfirst into this amazing challenge, and oh boy, I'm definitely lucky. But not only I've done that, I've done it in the healthiest way possible. The first time that I defeated this challenge, I did it with no guide and no markers, just that sweet dopamine of actually learning how to do the game, how to do this challenge. And just learning those bosses, learning their attack mechanics, and evolving to tackle said challenge, you know, the Wook's mindset. And in doing so, when I beat the boss for the first time, with the help of sting ones and shark ones of course, I learned to tackle the attacks and avoid them, and I actually got okay at dodging them. And now I'm almost an expert. So this is my newbies retrospective on the Moons of Peril. Now of course high level players have no need for this, unless they of course want their armour for their collection log or to use, because it is very good armour apparently. But mid level players like myself have great use for it. Because you see, my previous experience before this boss was the giant mole and 2 failed attempts at Scurious before I realised of course I was severely underleveled to beat that dude. And then I did it on my main, and my ultimate goal was to beat Scurious, but not before I conquered the Moons and Barrows. Now Barrows is for another video, and so is Scurious, but the Moons of Peril is our topic for today. We'll just ignore the fact that I actually took damage there. Sometimes these clones are a bit iffy, it's very annoying actually. I should be able to hit them all, but sometimes it just doesn't want to let me. It is what it is. Let me just get through this damn clones. There we go. Let's just eat that. Oh god, what are you doing, character? Why are you running into the boss head first? That is not how we do it up in here. Now, a person in my chat recommended I go Steambound first. I did not realise that the Steambound was this boss. This boss that I'm fighting right now to showcase it and showcase my skills. Although this is sort of like, it's a script, but I'm having a very hard time just sticking very specifically to the script right now, because it requires me reading while I'm also showcasing my capability of actually beating these bosses. Because I'm now like, okay, so all of a sudden very dramatic music. Sorry, I had the flu not long ago, so I'm also trying to get over that, you know. So I may cough a few times during this video as well. But you guys won't be able to hear the cough, just to be clear. I'm muting myself every time before the cough, but you guys might have to just deal with that. I'm very sorry. I know that this scripted video is all over the place, but it's just to showcase that I can actually beat all these bosses now relatively perfect. You know, not completely perfect, just relatively so. Why are you stood there, character? Please don't stand there. Right. Now, I did not realise that Steambound was Eclipse, nor how hard it would actually be to defeat this boss. Firstly, because I was at 52 strength and defense, and also because of those goddamn clones. I really hated those clones for the longest time. And this thing was very stupid to understand for some reason. Also, why was I... let's just ignore the fact that I'm taking damage here, you know. We can ignore that, can't we? I'm not trying to speedrun this, although I've still got to speedrun it from a challenge, which is rather annoying because these things are very hard to speedrun. I don't know how to defeat this boss before its second phase. Probably you've got to use its weapon, but you know, unfortunately I don't have the weapons right now, and there's only one weapon I can use. And don't get me wrong, it's probably the best weapon, but still. Which is, of course, the dual Mecha-Hunters. I want the dual Mecha-Hunters. I want to defeat every boss with a dual Mecha-Hunter. There we go. Now I can actually read my goddamn script. God damn it. I've literally been waiting so long to be able to read my script here. Right, are you gonna grab those fish? There we go. Right. Time to finish the bit on the wonderful Eclipse. You know, that wonderful boss. Which, even though I was distracted, I still managed to beat it because, gosh darn it, I'm a damn expert now. Now, those clones were a nightmare in very specific points, like when the clone appears directly behind me, making it hard to hit. But after a good few tries, I eventually toppled Eclipse. It was 1 HP, I saw it was 1 HP on the last stretch of the black hole ball, and that moment that ball dropped, I charged, I swung my mighty dragon longsword, cleaving the foe in two, and I reigned victorious against the Eclipse boss. Now Frost. Frost was somewhat annoying. It wasn't harder than Eclipse, but those tornadoes sucked, and they still absolutely suck. I absolutely hate that phase. I'm just going to wait for that phase to end. I personally don't want to deal with those goddamn tornadoes right now. That would not be my preference. You know what? I'll just stand here. You know what? Let me stand here. First of all, that first fight, I had no idea that I had to run to the goddamn braziers. It would heal. And, you know, I got defeated a good multiple times. Even when I realised how to actually beat this goddamn boss. Because, you know, it hits really goddamn hard. And I still only had 52 strength and defense at this point. You know, it was not fun for me at all. But, you know what? Eventually, I reigned victorious. And now I can pretty much perfect the boss. Like, literally. Other than the tornado phase, I still have issues with the tornado phase, and that's the primary issue is when the tornadoes appear like as you light in the brazier and they're running over you and they're in the perfect spot to goddamn hit you. That's just really annoying. I still absolutely hate that bit. But I persisted, and I reigned victorious against moons. I did it considerably faster than you know, my predecessor, Eclipse, and I think it were partly because of Eclipse that I actually did so well during moons, because obviously Eclipse is quite a bit harder than, you know, Eclipse is quite a bit harder than Frost is. Frost is really annoying when that happens though. Don't get me wrong, you can still take a lot of bloody damage with Frost, especially when it does stuff like that, but it's a lot easier, and it took a quick mouse swing to heal run when it turned off, and how many hits I could do with my weapon ultimately before the goddamn spikes rose. I beat it, and I was so elated after those first two victories. The first was the day before, the second was the second day of doing it, and I was so elated after my sweet victory that I dove head first. I did end stream, I took a nap, and when I woke up I couldn't help it. I felt the need to stream. I felt the need to defeat Blood Moon. How naive I was, because that did not go well. Let me tell you now, Blood Moon almost took my sanity away. I hated every moment of it. I did not enjoy Blood Moon. Blood Moon was Satan's butthole. Does that make sense? No, it does not. But if you understand Blood Moon, you can understand why I'm saying that. Now, I'd done 4 straight hours trying to defeat Blood Moon. Of course, I was not victorious. I did not defeat Blood Moon in those 4 hours, let me tell you now. So, you know, I took my knowledge, I tried to defeat Blood Moon for 4 hours, and in those 4 hours I learned its moveset. I learned how to avoid them naturally by beating it. I even eventually learned that walking backwards avoided damaging the Jaguar. Also, why in the ever-living God's green earth am I not able to hit this boss for its final goddamn bit of HP? Are you serious right now? This is cruelty. This is serene cruelty. You know, I'm trying to get to Blood Moon so I can talk about Blood Moon, and this game just, wow. That was unnecessary, game. Wow, there we go. Anyway, I ended stream. I grinded an extra level on these wonderful Nagas. I love these little Nagas, except for when they're attacking me at this point. I love training on them. I don't like when they're assaulting me for no reason. You know, there is a bit of a difference there. But I didn't realise that that was the best decision I could ever make, because I got the Sulphur Blades to train on them, and oh boy, the Sulphur Blades, the Sulphur Blades, these wonderful weapons, funnily enough, were the best decision I could make. And I loved them so much that the next day, I went into the arena. I'd set my arena to the same way as I'd left stream the day before. You know, I left it with a bunch of food left in the arena, to say the least. And I'd have 53 defense and 53 strength. And let me tell you, that was incredibly effective. I didn't even like need all the food in the I think I'd like picked up all the food off the ground, but I didn't eat all the food in my inventory, and I was victorious the first time that I did it with those sulfur blades, because the sulfur blades are just an incredibly effective weapon. The Moons of Peril, it was challenging and it was fun. Each boss having a... Also, I ran the complete different way. I'm sorry. I do apologise. You know, each boss having a different mechanic taught me a lot about dodging attacks. And although I'm not perfect, not even close, but, well, now I essentially am perfect, you know. When I wrote this I wasn't perfect, but after 20 kills of Moons of Peril, I would say I've got the hang of it quite considerably more. You know, I'm one of 2 rungs higher on the mechanics ladder. I've chosen to scale because I plan to defeat every boss without a guide or a marker. Not every quest without a guide or a marker, just every boss without a guide or a marker. And that is a fun way to play the game. It teaches you so much. If you use these ground markers, that as a newbie, if you use these ground markers, is it going to teach you that boss? Yeah, but it's not going to get you good at understanding these mechanics and learning to dodge them, like so. Like, this is an important mechanic. I say that and I take damage, but you get my point. That's an important mechanic for later on in the game. You know, I'm pretty sure there's probably some sort of raid with this mechanic, or multiple bosses with these mechanics, you know. All the hard stuff that earns you those millions. And how are you going to learn it other than A, doing that? Oh my god. Let's just ignore that moment there. You know, sometimes I mess up when I'm not zoomed in at this stage. You gotta zoom in to better avoid the Jaguar. Trust me, otherwise it's just gonna heal loads and then you're going to be very unhappy. You're going to be very unhappy and probably very much dead. Let me tell you now. It can very effectively take you out, this boss, if you're not careful. But I will conquer every boss with no guide or markers, except for understanding the requirements to actually go into the boss. That's kind of a necessity, you know. I've looked at the requirements for God Wars while avoiding what any of the God Wars bosses actually like do. I want to conquer the God Wars, and I will do it once I've reached my 70 ranged and my 70 agility. But I'm a newbie, and this is how I'm going to improve. This is how I'm going to, you know, as they say, get good scrub. Now, and as I just said, you know, this is, I use the guide for the requirements and nothing more, because that's, you know, how you do it. And now I'm actually pretty good, I would say. I had to eat twice there, you know. run to that corner. There we go. Just had to work my way there. There we are, 50 HP. Let's defeat it before I finish off my script, because that's the most logical thing. There we go. And we can do it in front of my chest, and then I can finish the script in front of the chest, and then we can finish this wonderful video with the chest open, because it makes the most logical sense, you know. Now, one sec, sorry about this. Here we go. Perfect. Look how badass my character looks. Hell yeah. Now, if you enjoyed my newbies retrospective on content in RuneScape, hit that subscribe button to join the cult of Serenism for more videos from me, Serene Generation. I hope you all have an amazing day. I hope you all stay safe. And remember to worship God Guffix, God of RNG. For if you do, you too may be blessed with a scurry spine at 1kc. Pretty useless, but such is the way of this game sometimes. And this has been me, Serene Generation, and I'm out, yo. Peace.